Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another episode. In today's episode, I got a really good friend of mine, Ruji, and he represents Apostille-USA, and he is here to basically tell you everything you need to know about an apostle. Now, before you turn off on this video, what is an apostle? If you want to come and live in Mexico, you're going to need one at some point. If you're going to get your residency, you're going to get any kind of paperwork, you're going to do anything, eventually at some point you're going to need an apostle, not just in Mexico but any country abroad. If you're leaving the USA or you're moving to any other country, you need this. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to just start asking questions to Ruji, and he's going to tell us all about everything we need to know about an apostle.
Cool, thank you. Well, first of all, I just wanted to thank you for the time today. I'm really a big fan of your channel and excited to share this news about something that's really important and something that we really care about. So I'll give you kind of like the textbook definition, and then I'll let you know kind of in layman's terms what that means. So an apostille is a certificate that verifies the authenticity of a document for use in another country. The apostille verifies the signature and seal of a public official on a document, such as a birth certificate or court order. And it's a seal that's attached to the document to verify its legitimacy. So what does that actually mean? So I'll use a real situation. So for like, if you want to go to another country to get a visa, a lot of times, like say a nomad visa, the country wants to know a couple things about you. They want to know, are you not a criminal? Do you have money? Do you have enough money? And like, what's your age, your birth certificate? So they need these documents, but because there's so many countries all over the world, like an official Mexico doesn't necessarily know what an official US document looks like. It could be fake. You could just photocopy something and you say it's a document that you're not a criminal. And so what happened was in 1962, there was an international convention of over 130 countries at The Hague, and they created this convention called the Apostille. So an apostille basically is a seal that's attached to a document that says that this is a legitimate document. And then that legitimate document can be used anywhere in the world. So something that was made to facilitate the movement of people, facilitate international commerce by allowing, government authorities to recognize that this document's actually legitimate and this person is what they say they are. So one thing like in Mexico that people that need them a lot, or if you want to buy property in Mexico, like you have a Mexican lawyer and say maybe you're not there, or you need to show that this lawyer actually represents you. So you need to get a power of attorney. And then so you get that power of attorney document that says that I allow this lawyer to operate in a fashion, or a real estate agent to operate for me to conduct business. So you would need to get that apostilled so people can use that. Or if there's some type of thing where you are getting married, like you may need a document that says that you've never been married anywhere else, or if you had a divorce and you want to get married again, you have to prove that that marriage is dissolved. So you would need to get your divorce certificate, and you need to get your divorce certificate apostilled. In many cases, you need a birth certificate, to do different things, apostilled, or maybe your kids' birth certificates to get them in school or enrolled and things like that. So all types of things. Even people, sometimes they need to get their driver's license apostilled, prove that they have a driver's license, and they want to get like a new one in another country without having to go through the test. So there's many ways. Anyone who's spending time living in another country who's originally from the US, you're going to run into, like you said, at some point, a situation where you'll need to get an apostille. And a lot of times too, like in many countries, I think Mexico is one of those countries where there's different types of visas where for people that have like a retirement, or they have fixed income set, so people know that they can live there. So like in Colombia, one of the things that we often have is that people get their Social Security benefits apostilled, so people see, oh, you reached a monthly standard of income, and then that allows them, that's like one of the major bars. Each different countries have different requirements where they can prove they make this much money, they can get the visa, then they can stay there indefinitely, because they're showing that they're not going to be a burden to the country.
How do I get my apostille, sent to me? Because I remember back when, I needed my apostille. It was about 5 years ago. And first of all, I remember I was going to get married, and I had to get all the documents ready for marriage. And one of the documents was that I had to get like my birth certificate apostilled. I had to get a letter saying I was never married apostilled, and I had to get it translated, all this stuff. And so I was like, what is an apostille? I never even heard of it. And so, obviously I went down the rabbit hole. I found out what an apostille was, and and I had to reach out to a company abroad, that was in the USA, for them to send me my apostille, and it was extremely expensive. It was really expensive. I don't want to say how much, but it was very expensive. I'm embarrassed. But the reason it was so expensive, it was because there was nobody around that I could find, and and I needed it. It was an emergency, and I was not able to go to the USA. If for many people that are still in the USA, they can get their apostille pretty easily. But if you're abroad, you're not in town, you're not around, it's going to become a lot more difficult for you to get it, and timely. But
Exactly.
yeah.
So, and just to go on that too, like it's very useful for people, a lot of people who are abroad to go with a service like us. And also, since COVID, a lot of the governments before, a lot of places you could walk into a place and maybe get your apostille like in a ticket line, like you're going to a meat counter. But now since COVID, a lot of government offices shut down a lot of those walk-ins, and now everything is like through the mail, and there's lots of delays. So it's not even something that you can really do yourself a lot of times really quickly or efficiently because of like this post-COVID reality.
Wow. Yeah, I had no idea. I didn't even think about that. But you make a great point because, yeah, back in the day it was, a lot easier. You could just walk into the office and kind of like get it, but not anymore. Not in many cases, right?
Because a lot of government workers were remote and they've never really gone back.
Yeah, yeah.
So a lot of these things that we took for granted like 3 years ago, the reality is just different now.
Yeah, I mean, and it's all part of the digitization, right? They're trying to digitize everything, so obviously that's part of it too. So, in the sense of just they want you to do it all, electronically, through mail, whatever.
So let me tell you a little bit about the apostille. Like what we do, our process is called a true copy apostille. And a true copy, digital copy, is a form apostille where a custodial certificate is added to the document and notarized. So this allows us to obtain a apostille lightning quick, just using a copy of your document uploaded during the order process. So you don't need, with us, you don't need to actually mail your physical document. You can just upload a copy of your document. We put a certificate on it and we notarize it and we get the apostille. This method's accepted but with most authorities with over 95% of the time. Very rarely they'll ask a request of an original document, and if this happens, we offer our clients 100% free reprocessing. So does that make sense for you?
Yeah. It makes all the sense. Yeah, because I was going to ask you that, because like I remember, again, when I had to go through this, I had to get the original birth certificate. And then that original paper birth certificate had to go to the company, and everything had to, was done that way. But again, this is way before COVID. But now in a different world that we're living in, basically you just get that document, a digital copy, right? Because you just upload it into, to your website. And then from, that upload, you basically notarize it, certify it, and then, you get the actual apostille document that is, needed for that, which is the physical apostille.
Is that the physical stamp? So how it works? So for us, we have two normal options. We have a standard 72-hour processing time. That's the most popular. The fees for that are $199 plus shipping. And we also have this per document. We also have 24-hour rush service, which is $299 plus shipping. And normally, like in a 72-hour process, from the time you make your order to the time you get it, we ship anywhere in the world. It's usually like 5 to 7 days, till you get the document in hand. And then we also have a digital option too, because some countries they don't need the physical document; they just need the digital version. So that's kind of like the pricing. And then I just want to talk about process order. It's really simple. And on the website, there's a 1-minute video. So you basically, you fill out the type form from our website, which only takes about 1 minute. You upload your documents, specify the country of usage, and you provide your name and your phone and email information. After you fill out the order form, within 5 minutes, you'll receive an email with a Stripe invoice. And once the invoice is paid, we begin to process the order immediately. Then within 24, 72 hours, we'll send you an email with your shipment, the tracking number, and you'll be able to track it all the way to where you go. And usually end to end takes 5 to 7 business days for the 72-hour service, or 3 to 4 days, including shipping, for the 24-hour service. So we wanted to make it really simple for people to do it, because no one wants to like download and print forms and send something in the mail and do all that stuff. So we really were focusing on the ease of use and the simplicity of the flow, the order flow.
Yeah, I mean, again, one of the things that I was so surprised by was the ease of use and how how well how awesome how I mean, like your website is, a process is, everything. Because I remember, like I said, I still have nightmares of when I had to do it and how bad it was and all that good stuff. And speaking of which, I mean, like I think you were telling me earlier when before we started a little bit about your background and why you started this. So it's like, would you mind telling a little bit more about why you started this, your company and all that to the audience, because I'm sure that they would greatly appreciate your story.
Definitely, definitely. Like a lot of times business opportunities come when you identify like a personal problem, a personal pain point that affects you. And that was the case for me. I've traveled a lot over the past like few years, and I really found Brazil a place that I really loved. And I spent a lot of time in Florianopolis, Brazil. And a few years ago, I was working on getting a visa there. And one of the things you need is a federal background check, and you also need, to prove your income and all that stuff. And I had to go through a couple of different companies, and it was just a nightmare. Like the first companies, you download like a 10-page order form, and you got to fill it out, and then you got to wait, and then you don't hear from them. And just like I went through like all this experience, I was like, this is terrible. There's got to be a better way. And my lawyer I was dealing with was like, man, this is terrible. There's got to be a better way. So I really kind of looked into it and tried to find a solution because, there's just bad websites, bad customer service, you know, just a bad, platform. And that's one of the things that I wanted to do is like, if I had this problem, lots of other people have this problem, lots of other lawyers, who are working with, people trying to immigrate have this problem. So one of the things we did, we reached out to a lot of different law firms and immigration firms in different countries where Americans go. And today we have 50 partners across the globe, including Mexico, Colombia, Spain, Italy, Portugal, all, and they love working with us because when you're doing like an immigration lawyer or something, you get some money up front, but you get most of it at the end. And that Apostille is that last thing where it's just like it sucks for everybody because the customer doesn't know how to get it, they don't know how to help them, and it just holds everything up. So they love working with us because it makes it simpler and better for their clients, and the clients are happy, and everybody just works together. So I figured, that's why we really wanted to start this company, just make it easier. And also one thing that we do is we offer everybody a free 15-minute consultation with one of our experts, because a lot of the times it's even though it's not, once you understand it, it's simple, but at the beginning it's complicated, and it's because it's personal, so people get confused, they get frustrated. And then also like when you're spending a decent amount of money, like you could be nervous, like who am I sending it to? Are these even real people? So it gives people an extra like confidence that you're dealing with a real person, that we can help you, and we walk you through all the questions. So we wanted to kind of take away that nervousness that people have in the Apostille process, just make it not a scary thing for people.
Yeah, and again, the convenience, again, in my case, the fact that I had good customer service with the company I dealt with, but oh my God, it was so expensive, and in my case, I didn't have the funds for that. So not only is it fast, convenient, you offer things like 15-minute consultations, so you can ease people through it even further. But the fact, again, the price is right. I mean, to me, when I saw the price, I was like, wow, I mean, this guy's really doing an awesome service to a lot of people out there in need. Because again, if you're just traveling, a lot of times, you don't need, an Apostille. Once you're decided, hey, I want to move there, I want to marry somebody, I want to buy something, I want to do anything, you're going to quickly find out you're going to need this. And then you're also going to quickly find out it's very hard to obtain, so.
And another thing I wanted to mention that's really important. So we mentioned the types of apostilles that people need, like birth certificate, marriage certificate, but also the one that's really important, it doesn't just go for Mexico, but goes for everyone, is an FBI background check. And why that's really important, first we'll talk about what it is and then why you need to get an apostille. So the FBI background check is important because every country that's going to accept people for a long-term time, they want to know who these people are. And one way is to know if you're a criminal. That's really important. So an FBI background check, you're going to have to get your fingerprints done with like an official FBI channeler. Then they'll process it and send it to the FBI, and then they'll return a report that brings back everything that's ever happened to you, or they'll just say, there's no criminal record. Either way, like countries need to have that. And then why you need to get it apostilled is because they've got to make sure it's legitimate. They got to make sure. And for most apostles that we do, like every other kind of apostle, like a birth certificate, marriage certificate, or whatever, we get it apostilled at the state level. Means we go to the state secretary of state in that state, and someone in that office signs it. And we have relationships with every state office, all 50 states, and it's an easy process because we could just get someone to go in there. But because the FBI background check is at a national level, you need to get it done at the National Department of State. And actually, ever since COVID, they used to have walk-ins. We used to be able to go in and just, and get it done in 24 hours. But now every single buddy has to wait in line. So that document takes, with us, we do it get the fastest around 8 or 9 weeks. Other people it takes up to 12 weeks. But that's something that you're going to need to have. And you're going to want to get that done. Either plan to, when you go back home for Christmas or something, or if you're already making a trip, try to plan other trips around in the United States to get it. Because now you have to get it in the United States. You can't get it abroad. So maybe try to think about getting it before or making a trip to go back. And then you have to first obtain the document, and then you need to get that apostilled. But any type of long-term visa anywhere, you're going to need to get that FBI background check. Some countries like Colombia and Brazil, they often accept the state level, and so you can get that in 24 hours, 48 hours. If you're like in a rush, you may be able to ask them and see if they can do something for you. Maybe you send that, then send the other one. But most of the time, you're probably going to need the federal level. So that's something I would just say to people to remind. And then any questions people have, they can ask us and let us know like their situation. But the FBI background check is the only apostille that's fundamentally different from the other ones.
Yeah, and to me it was curious because I remember when we were talking about this that I asked you, really, do people need a background check? Is there really like a thing, like the FBI background check? And you said that yes, it was like an actual thing that a lot of people need because to me how I got my residency was through marriage. And they never asked me for no background check. They were just asking me for my birth certificate and my marriage certificate and things like that. But you say that, again, like in the case of Mexico, you're applying, for temporary residency. Not only are they, asking you for, your financial requirements, again, which vary, but they're also asking you for a background check. An FBI background check, which I had no idea. Wow, that's interesting. And now, the next question I want to ask you pertaining to that is, do you help people obtain that FBI background check besides Apostille or only Apostille?
So we don't actually do that. There's some companies that we recommend. One company is called Accurate Biometrics. Okay. And even that's a little confusing. So like, if people need help, we actually have they ask us, send us an email. We can send them detailed instructions. All right, you got to do this, and that, because it's not very intuitive what you have to do. So we'll can kind of give you clues. We'll help you out and direct you. Because a lot of people they get really confused and they get emotional and they're like, oh, I don't understand this.
Right.
And we can help them. We'll do a consultation if they need it, but we don't make any money off it. We just do it to help people because that's something they need before they come to us. But we help them along the way because people really, a lot of times they freeze at that point. Because a lot of times people think, because they're told, they go to a lawyer or something and say, oh, you need an FBI background check apostille. And they think that's one thing, but it's actually two things. Right. You need an FBI background check and then you need an apostille. So people get confused. So they come to us and say, I need an FBI background check. And I'm like, apostille. And I'm like, okay, do you have the FBI background check? They're like, what do you mean? I thought that's what you do. So it gets confusing.
Right. Yeah, and then again, they have to, go through one of these companies that you recommend, and then they have to wait, like you said, 8, 10 weeks, whatever, right, for that to happen, right?
No. So to actually get the background check itself, you get that background check in 24, 48 hours, the actual background check.
Interesting.
But then we take it and we have to take it to the State Department to get apostille, and that's where you wait.
That's what takes a long time to get it official. Yeah, to get it official, okay. Wow.
And there's no rushing that because the Department of State, they do what they want and they want.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah, I had no idea, honestly. I'm really glad that we got to talk about this, and you got to, not just inform me, but inform others out there, because, there's so many people that just don't know about these things. And, like me, like you know what I mean? That we found this out at the last minute, at the worst possible time, and we had to act quickly. And it was, yeah.
You can panic when you're doing something quickly in an emotional state, because they said it's the last thing. You're like, I've done everything, and then, what? This? I got to do this? I'm like, and then you look and it's like the websites all suck, the providers look crappy, and you're like, I don't trust these guys. It doesn't make sense. What do I have to do? So we want to, and like, so I know their mentality, so I want to be there and to help people, and it's fun. I like talking because I get to talk to really cool people who have like cool experiences that are trying to do cool stuff, and it makes me happy to, what we do makes people help achieve their dreams. It's a small part. We're like a real small part, but important part.
But yeah, very important part. I mean, again, I wish I knew about you guys, or you guys were around, back when I needed my Apostille, because it would have been so much easier. Because again, in my case, again, I was getting married, all these things. You're already stressed out enough with that, stressed out with, so many other things. The last thing you needed was, stressing over documents, which unfortunately, almost everybody, stresses out about these things, the Apostille. So I remember, again, when you reached out to me, I was very happy. I was like, oh yes, good, someone that can really explain and also offer a real solution to this actual problem, that basically everyone's going to have at some point. So, with that being said, thank you so much for, joining us and giving us, a solution to a major problem that a lot of people have. But I also want to ask you another question. You said that you were a world traveler, and you yourself started this company simply because, again, you're just solving a problem that a lot of people have, including yourself. So what other tips, besides, getting your Apostille, what other tips out there do you have, for other people out there that are, traveling abroad, that are world travelers and stuff like that?
Cool. So, yeah, I'll give you a little bit more background about myself too. So my family comes from Rwanda originally. My father is a math professor, and so he got to travel a lot. So I grew up speaking a few languages, and I've been to, I think, 26 countries. And I guess the key thing I would say, like, for me, it's not for everybody, but I think when you travel a lot, like the nomad stuff, I think it gets kind of tiring, like if you're going from place to place. But like if you find a place that you like, I think that's really cool. And like spending time, in one place, instead of trying to like go to a different place every 2 weeks, because it's hard to make good friends. People think you're just transient and you're not there. Like who wants to really invest, that much effort in someone who's going to be gone in 2 weeks? I'd say maybe that, and also, for me, I think what really helped in Florianopolis, one of my dreams was to learn how to surf. And like I saw this movie, Endless Summer, and so that was a place, and I wanted to go to Brazil, so I found, that was a good place for surfing. Then I got an instructor and I made friends, and then from surfing culture, I made a lot of friends, and then, like from that I had a community. So I think like for anybody, I know like mixed martial arts, they have that everywhere. Like there's certain things that, like even if you're not good at it, if you try, you'll get respect and you'll make friendships. I think just like trying to join, even if it's not sport and activity or something where you're around people, I think will make everybody's experience better, when you travel.
Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, there's great advice. Again, just join your local Zumba thing, what I mean, that you see, in the park, or the book club or whatever, things like that. Yeah. What was that?
Or dance or something.
Anything, anything. But get involved with the community and set up some roots. One thing is traveling and all that good stuff, but at the end of the day, everybody's looking for a home, and there's I think Nomad Capitalist. He's another YouTuber out there. He I love what he says. He always says, go where you're treated best, and that's the thing. Some of us, we travel around a lot, and then once we find that one place, maybe start thinking about settling down there, and then setting up the roots and all that stuff. And then once you do, then contact you, to get the Apostille, right?
Definitely. Now, I'm really thankful for this video. I really like your channel, what you do, and I think this is a great opportunity for us to talk and share. And I hope your viewers get a lot of good stuff from this. And like I said, they can check the link below, and they can build a consultation call if they have any questions. And, just super excited, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man. No, thank you so much. I really appreciate you, and thank you for your time. Thank you so much again for creating this company and offering so many people this solution and everything you do. I know for a lot of people out there might not understand it completely, but that's why you're there. You know what I mean? Because you'll help them. You'll guide them. And put them at ease. During these times when again you're dealing with the government. So
Exactly.
so anyways, all right, guys. Well, again, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you so much for joining us, Ruji, and thank you everyone out there in the audience. And I think that's it, guys. So we're gonna head out of here, and thanks again. Appreciate it. All right, bye,
Bye.
guys.